Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I used to be the editorial head of Magic Bricks. Recently, I retired, and now I am a researcher. I'm a researcher on real estate. So I'm a researcher, and I drive policy advocacy. That is the role that I play, and I've been working with NAREDCO for a long, long time. Delhi is something that is a area of interest, something, a place where I've lived, I've grown, and a place where I've done intense research. In fact, the Master Plan 2041, the housing white paper, was done by my team and I. Very quickly to tell you, to introduce the panelists to you. I have Kuldeep Singh Dhingra. He's the president of the Jaunapur Gadai Welfare Association. I have Manish Agarwal. He's joined us online, and he's the treasurer of the West End Green Farms Welfare Association. There's Bhupinder Sekhri, who heads the Sudbury RWA, and Mr. Amir Singh Pasrich. He's the president of the West Jaunapur RWA. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. Hitesh Vaidya spoke very eloquently about what happens if the plans are not executed. The Green Development Area Policy, in this name, it's new. But for all of us know that it has been in the works for many, many decades. What happens when a policy is not implemented? The policy is declared, therefore you know which are the areas that are impacted. But if the policy is not implemented, what happens is that illegal development takes over. Justifiably, because it takes way too long. How long can people wait? There doesn't seem to be a policy thrust of implementation thrust. And more than anything else, the people in that area know what needs to be done. And therefore, these gentlemen who are here, they have bought land here, they have lived in farmhouses, but to bring it into the formal process, they're still waiting for things to happen. And like Gaurav said, the time has come. Can we now make sure that we not only make policy, but we implement them? So let me start with you. So when you picked up a piece of land in Delhi, what were the challenges that you faced, and what are the challenges you faced subsequently because it has not got into the planning process?
Most of us at that time when we shifted there, it was for the greenery only. We wanted to stay in a sort of green areas. We like trees, we like flowers, we liked a little bit of agriculture. So we moved over there for these very reasons.
Right.
And then over a period of time, you know, the quality has gone down, meaning lot of unauthorized construction came up. And then the roads issues were there. So problems started happening there also. Water shortages, because you need water for horticulture, etc.
Yeah.
And even when this planning was taking place about Delhi, they were going to, we were told that even for this area, they were planning these multi-storied areas and all that. All of us got together and we said, no, then Delhi, how will Delhi breathe? Let some areas be green. Of course, if there were multi-storied group housing and all, it's more profitable. But all of us decided, no, we didn't come here for profit. We came here for greenery and good air. So therefore, this was that green policy, that farmhouse policy, etc. came, that LDRA policy, etc. came over here.
Yeah.
And now we're very glad that it's been extended for larger area for green development.
Right.
So and the challenges are, yes, unauthorized construction and the rule implementation, the rules, etc., which encourage unauthorized construction. So those are the issues. And this policy now which has come is excellent. But there are some things which need to be sort of fine-tuned for it to become effective and pragmatic. Otherwise, again, there'll be unauthorized stuff.
Right. One of the biggest problems that we faced in these areas is that the road width, which actually is very critical, because in the event of a disaster, you need emergency vehicles coming in. Also remember that there are large vehicles that the residents have, and those also need to negotiate this. Now the width of the road has been an issue, and 6 meters, 9 meters, 12 meters, 24, 30. Today we're talking about 30 meters. But what happens when you have developed roads that have not quite been 9 meters or 30 meters or something like that? How do you cope with that? How does a new policy take?
See, the point is,
No, I would like him to start.
Okay.
Thank you. Actually, Kuldeep ji knows more than I do about this because he's on the main road.
No, we'll go back to Kuldeep ji. I just want everybody
I
to
just
start
want say
speaking and then we
because,
go back to him.
He's been our leader for a long time.
Yeah.
I should say I've been in Jaunapur area for about 12 years. I lived there. And I'm sad to say this question about roads is the most important thing.
Sure.
And it's our, I don't want to cast a dark cloud over this meeting, but it's our biggest failure in Delhi, the roads. Because you compare it with Noida, where we expected Delhi to be far ahead when we bought this land in the early 90s, late 80s, even the 70s. The road development in Delhi has failed. Connectivity is weak. We don't have wide roads. We don't have an integrated system of reaching places, and it's more and more clogged despite the metro coming in and being an absolute godsend. But you still have Andheria Mode, which is not in good shape. The gap between Andheria Mode and up to Fortis Hospital, they are just not able to widen it. Harcharan Bagh side is still a nightmare. Then you commute from Jaunapur on the Mandi Road and you're reaching Jaunapur. That road has been rebuilt only 4 times and nobody has thought about how to do it right. They've dug a nice big 3-foot wide drain underneath the road, which took 2 years to build. And then they realized that the outfall of the drain was going uphill. So that was in 2007 or 8, but nobody fixed it. The drainage is still patently lacking. And somehow the shopkeepers around there, I don't know why they oppose drainage. I've actually seen them prevent a drain from being cut and dug. So I don't know how this is going to translate in the future, but until we fix the roads, that's one problem. The second one is we've got a new policy, and I know every policy is a good measure because it's movement, at least something rather than nothing. This policy talks about 9 meters, 12 meters, and even 6-meter roads for the farmhouses. For my mind and thinking, I think that was very needed. At least you need 9 meters, as you said, because you can't get an emergency vehicle through to a farmhouse. You can't even get two of these large lorries in. If you look at, you asked this question on the phone yesterday. I'm sorry to have a big, huge laptop in front of me, but I couldn't help it because the print was smaller. But if you look at what you've got here in grade 2 and grade 3, the gap between grade 2 and grade 3 is really twofold. One is the size of the plot and the road width.
Yeah.
Now, some of these activities in grade 2, which are being permitted, will not work.
That's right.
With this road width. That's your question.
Yeah.
And you'll find these huge trucks. I've seen massive 40-foot container trucks. And if you allow the storage facilities, at the bottom it says subject to 18-meter road width.
Yeah.
In Jaunapur, that's already existing. And there are these container trucks. I've got photographs of them if you want. And they come and I don't know how they manage to navigate. And the other thing is these tractor trolleys with these huge, dhan,
Yeah.
which they carry, and they block the whole road. But nobody seems to notice that when that happens, if there's an emergency at that point, or an ambulance or something, there's no way that person can get through. He just have to wait maybe half an hour, maybe 2 hours. So that, and weddings are another nightmare.
That's right.
So thank you.
So you see, what has happened is that the road width, which is the basic ground, the jigsaw puzzle of urban planning, that seems to have been neglected. How you can retrofit it today, even with the new mass development plans, that is a issue that I am raising a flag here for whoever is planning this entire process, whoever is going to implement this. The road width is something that you will have to fix. You will have to figure out. Is somebody going to give land because you want to make it a 9-meter and 18-meter road? Maybe not. Maybe 2 will give, 3 will give, but all of them may not give. Therefore, within the plan, there are small footnotes on what you can do. I think it's important that we flag this issue and pick it up when we make the recommendations. I'm going to come to you, sir, Mr. Bhupinder Sekhri. Now, there are 3 grades of development, right? 1, 2, and 3. 1 is largely agricultural, about 5% built up. You have 2, which has residential with a little bit of other commercial activities thrown in, and 3 is on 30-meter roads, where you will have maybe Home Depot kind of development. You will also have maybe schools and warehouses and clubs and things like that. What is that magic formula where all this can coexist without really spoiling? Like Amir mentioned, that if there is an emergency, it's clashing, right? How do you ensure that all this is able to coexist?
Thank you very much, ma'am. First of all, I would like to go back to roads. I would like to say that I'm living there since 85 in Satbadi. Yeah. It's on the main road. Although it's on the main road, we are talking of inner roads, 9 meters, 6 meter, 12 meter. But we could never thought of talking about the main roads which are connected with. This second, last master plan when was made, it was so nicely drafted and made. But unfortunately, not even a single inch of road is constructed or made as per the plan. Like, for example, they have made one road. I'll quote one example, UER2. UER2 was to connect NH 1, 8, and 2. So that road was so nicely planned that if that road would have been made, now I am living in Satbadi. One of the factories is in Panipat. Supposing sometimes I have to travel, it takes me minimum 1.5 to 2 hours to reach the border. If that road would have been made, the connectivity was that from my house, about 1 kilometer of DLF gate, and within 30 minutes, I would have at the border. I don't have to cross this Andheriya Mode, Vasant Kunj, Vasant Vihar, Dhola Kuan, and what all and what not. How much traffic it would have been eased.
What held up? Was it land issues? That land was not available, that land was encroached, or there was no implementation?
I don't want to say that, but I certainly would like to say that more than the planning, important is the implementation.
That's right.
There is no implementation takes place in our country. And we people do, when the emergency happened or something major tragedy has happened, then we people will wake up and one of the day will say do it. Now in our area, back of my house in village Medan Gadi, there's a huge development coming. They are making in 100 acres Sakh University. They are making biggest hospital of armed forces, CBI housing, DDA, even their housing, Delhi Police housing, Ministry of External Office, what not and what not. They have already allotted land for a rugby ground, but there's no connectivity. The entrance point is about 15, I think 20 feet. The road plan is 30 meter. All those buildings are complete. And still DDA has got 250 acres of land lying vacant on that patch which they are going to use for developments. Where is the connectivity? I myself have made a representation to the engineers and to the DDA officials sometimes. Look, even if you are planning these roads, now they have planned Gaushala Road up to Sakh to that place and connected to IGNU. But from where to reach these places? Again is only Chhatarpur Mandir Road. My office is on Mandi Road. Invariably, now something good has happened, that drainage is there and I could reach my office. Otherwise, during rains, many times I couldn't reach even my office. My office is opposite C dot and I live at Chhatarpur Mandir Road. Although I come from the DLF gate. But again, the problem is roads. DDA also wanted, I gave them the proposal. There was one road planned from 100 feet road to IGNU Gate 1. 2.5 kilometer stretch. If you make this, your 50% traffic of Chhatarpur Mandir Road and Naib Sarai, is already jammed. You are making such a huge construction. So much of traffic is going to happen there. But how do people reach? 50% of Naib Sarai will cut down 50, but they don't. It's their own way they do it.
Right.
So
And
roads.
Actually, this is a big issue. And I would like to raise this thing. Many years ago, when I was working with I was talking to some planners in the US. In San Jose, Cisco was one of their largest drivers. And Cisco asked for one new tower. But the city authority said, we cannot give you the permission. Why? Because there was not enough adequate infrastructure. There was not enough road space. There was not, the number of vehicles that they anticipated would come in. They could not see that the existing infrastructure could handle it. They upgraded the infrastructure and then allowed the tower to come. Here, what's happening is we haven't allowed, we've proposed, but we haven't allowed all this to happen. Neither have we fixed the infrastructure. And if you, it's already reached, like each of these gentlemen said, it's already reached a crisis point. If you don't implement it today, what will happen is roads are going to be the single biggest disaster in this green belt. You do need that network of roads, and you need an authority which will say that we will implement these roads.
I'll just take a second.
Yes.
I will give you an example of China. I asked somebody, look, there's so much huge development has taken place. Infrastructure has been made, but there's no development. They say we do the development first, infrastructure, then we do the development. In our country is vice versa. We do the development first, and when there is a problem or emergency happens, we go for infrastructure. So that's what we say. We are talking of internal roads. We are ready for 9 meter, 12 meter. We offered DDA or all the agencies. There is one road they have to make, which is to connect this SAC University. I have given in writing these khasra numbers. Your road is passing. I'm ready to give land, provided you give me FAR. In Delhi, I'm very much pleased to see the word of TDR. It was never there. Right. Even FAR today, even corporation, when they take a road, they give you FAR for that. People are ready to give for that, but they don't want. They say you take it as circle price. Now in Satpadi area, Chhatarpur, when the land rates are about 20 crore, 15 crore, 25 crore rupees per acre, and they offer in 53 lakhs of road, would anybody would like to surrender? No. But if they offer FAR,
TDR is
it's a good move. It has to be.
And let's put that in our recommendations.
How the Maharashtra has developed is only, but in this policy they have written TDR. Yeah. But again they say whatever the zonal roads we need, inner roads we need to connect green, we will not give any compensation. Certainly nobody will. Now, supposing in a row 3 houses are made, 3 plots are empty. Now he has to construct. But other 3 will not give a road, but they are already living there, and his plans will not be approved.
And then what happens? Yeah.
Then unauthorized construction will happen. I am living there since 85. It is why I shifted there. I was having a house in the city because I wanted to live in a green area. Nobody was there. We were only 4 families living in that area. And I've seen how from the backside of that, all this Pahad, how the water stream used to come, that people living at back of my house, many a times during rains, they used to park their cars at my farm, and then my Sierra used to go and drop them. The water flow was so much. Now so much development has done, there's no water coming from anywhere. But nothing, no infrastructure has been created.
Let me take the conversation forward. Let's pick up the next issue.
Just wanted to leave one thing on an interjection, which is that I don't see in this policy any reference to if you cede land, you still get to consider your plot as big as it was before. Okay. So what the effect is that if you cede the land for the road widening, your FAR would decrease to the size of the plot that's left. Yeah. And that has to change because you have to automatically give them incentives, as he's rightly pointing out. Yeah. And the second thing is we must start using construction waste for building roads. Right. There's so much construction waste. They're talking about water bodies. The moment you have water bodies, you'll have construction waste being poured into those water bodies. Right. So we should have construction waste policy also as part of this.
Absolutely.
And that blue-green policy that
Yeah.
is rather elusive and exists online, that should have a construction waste policy.
I have written in one of my suggestions, the provisions for compensatory FAR or TDR be made available for the land, made available for public facilities, even over by local bodies or service providing agencies. At least even the criteria. Now, many farmhouses have 1 acre. If is 500 yards or 1,000 yards will go away, again, plots will not be in that category.
That's right. That's right.
So they should give that consideration.
And this is especially important right now when you are fixing an irregularity that has to be regularized. Fully taking point. Do I have Manish Agarwal logged in online?
Yeah, I am here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Manish. When we regularize, all of you are from existing colonies. When you regularize these, what are the new services that you expect will be provided to you? And is there a clash between who will provide? There's a DDA, which is the planning authority. There is the MCD, which is the city authority. Is it clear in the policy who will provide the services to you?
Okay, so good morning, Yashiri.
Good.
First of all, West Indian Farm Society wishes to place on record its appreciation the way DDA has placed this policy, proposed subject policy, GDA policy. As far as your question is concerned, see, they have discussed about it, but they have asked the societies like integrated development policy, which is integrated green development policy, where the clusters are already existing, but it is not clear they are asking the land to be provided by the society or by the landowners who owns the land, which is not feasible. Actually, this land should be provided by the Gram Sabha, land which has already been vested with the DDA, and it is there. They have to provide all these facilities like school or like a small nursing home or like other things, small police post or anything. They should provide for that land, which all they have lot of land in the, like Gram Sabha land which has vested with this DDA.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I was talking to him. I'll come back to you, Kuldeep ji, with the services. The quality of services rendered to the farmhouses in the green areas. What are the changes that you are anticipating, and has that been well defined, or do you think that needs to be fine-tuned better?
No, there's not even mentioned about water or treated water. It's not even mentioned.
Right.
But there are so many other hurdles which are there.
Yeah.
Right of way is one. Everybody talks about implementation, and the policy should make sure that the authorities implement it.
Yeah.
No one in the farm areas minds if their lands are taken away for road widening,
Right.
for right of way. No problem with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Provided that the FAR allowed is the same as if that land was still there.
Sure.
So therefore, people don't want even compensation for money for road widening.
Right.
Because in our association, we at one point they were wanting to widen the main road, and I got letter from all the members saying that you are free to take our land.
Yeah.
Okay, no compensation needed, but the FAR should not be reduced.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Because everybody has 2.5 acres of land. 2-3 meters going from this side, 2-3 meters. It doesn't harm anybody. So there is full support there. Yeah. But the implementation has to be done by the authorities, by policy, by force. By force, that has to be done. Meaning, you can't expect people to go and talk to the neighbors, will you please break your wall? It doesn't happen. It's a public space. Public space, road and right-of-way roads are a public matter. Authorities have to do it. So therefore, don't stop anybody. Keep the things going on. At the same time, keep implementing the right-of-way. So. Yes.
That's the bigger issue.
So just clarification is there.
We are asking for both. We are asking for both.
So therefore, please.
Yeah. See, my farmhouse where I live, my 15-meter road will go for road widening, that Chhatrapati Mandir road. I've given in writing. that you take the land, give me FAR.
I don't think giving the
15
land is
meter,
an issue, but
15 meter is going.
eligibility of the farmhouse. If
Yeah.
out of
Yes.
out of a 1 acre farm, if you give away your land, then you're not even a farmhouse, right? You don't fit into the policy. That's the bigger issue.
Yeah, and also earlier the policy was when this farmhouse policy was there, the right of way width was 2 gattas, that's 16.5 feet. So there are many farms already with this kind of ROW. Now, by all everybody would like 6 meters, 9 meters, whatever it is, but the authorities must come and implement it. Let them come and implement it. Nobody minds that at all. And nobody will stop you. Everybody will all support you.
And a timeline. And a timeline of
Immediately, yeah, that's
implementation,
right. But don't hold up people. I mean, if they are giving plans for new FAR as per new rules and all, let them carry on, because and so they do their job, and the authority should come in, do their job of implementing the public roads and all that. Come and smash up the boundary walls, break them. Yeah.
I agree.
We are all for it.
No,
we are all for it.
Okay.
We've given in writing also.
Okay.
But they should do something. You see, they must authority.
That
must,
should
Yeah.
fill joy in the heart of the implementers,
Yeah.
because if the RWAs are with you, and here they all represent very powerful RWAs. If the RWAs are with you, this should
They are, because look at the logic of it.
All the sanctioned farmhouses
Yeah.
have already given it an affidavit
Yeah.
at the time of sanction.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Move back by 5 meters,
Uh-huh.
15 meters.
Yeah.
So that is already with them. They have to come and implement.
Okay.
The RWAs can't break the walls for private people.
Right.
The authorities can come and do it.
Right.
We have already given a affidavit.
Sure.
All sanctioned farmhouses have that in the file.
Important
So it's
point.
like
Yeah.
That's right.
Good.
they have to do it.
Not
It's
only
very easy
that,
for them to do it.
For example, in my case, and some others may have done it, once I gave that, I actually left that land, and then I made the boundary wall. That why I should have break the wall later on.
Right.
So I've already kept my boundary wall much behind what I was actually I own. So my own land is on public next to the road,
Sure.
on the road.
Sure.
So that is the spirit as far as the farm owners are concerned.
Right.
The authorities must come and implement this RFW and not hold up anything.
Sure. Get
Because-
the point.
Just 1 minute, Jayashree, sorry. For implementation in Delhi, the problem is they say if your road is 9 meter, corporation has to make it. If your road is 25 meter and above, PWD has to make it. If your road is this much, NHI has to make it, or DD has to make it. Better is ki the way they have done in Dwarka, they should take this place as a development area, do the development, hand it over to corporation.
Yeah.
Let one agency handle it. There are so many agencies and all. Like in one of the policies, private land policy came in 2018. Till now, only one LOI is issued. How many years have passed? The procedure is you file a plan with DDA. DDA sends it to corporation. Corporation sends to revenue for verification. After verification, they send it back to corporation, and corporation very well. Then they send it back to. I don't want to
Actually,
comment on,
what you need to
but-
do is, from what I hear,
Yeah.
what you need to do is pick this up as a project that has to be
Yes.
completed and implemented.
Yeah, and that is
Have
one agency do
authority,
it.
a single window.
Single
whether
window.
it is
Let-
DDA, whether it's MCT, that's immaterial. What you
Better
need
DDA,
is
better
one
DDA.
organization
Yeah.
implementing the whole thing, handing it over to whichever the authorities are. But that is the only way the established colonies, that's what I'm talking about, the ones that are already established, if you have to retrofit them, you have to complete the process of planning and execution of all the services, you will have to pick it up and say that.
I hope there is no corporation fellow sitting here, but it should not be corporation. We have heard
I'll add something to it. With DDA handling it and MCD handling it, the policy was notified in 2013.
Yeah.
They could have easily sanctioned the farmhouses on 9-meter roads. They did none.
They did not.
Right? On the rest, whichever issues were pending, they could have left them pending, which was clear they could have done it.
That's right.
MCD will not do it. They will not do it. They know, everybody knows about them. It should go to DDA, a single window, DDA will do it.
Can you identify yourself? I don't know.
I'm Yudhveer. I stay in Vasant Kunj in Green Avenue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Manish, I'm going to come to you again. Today, to get this entire process implemented in the already established farmhouse areas, are all the members of the farm, are all farmhouses members of the RWA? Do you have any problems with one or two landowners not being part of it? And-
Yes, a lot of people are not members of the association. Yes, they are.
No. In Western Indian Farm Society, everybody is a member. That's
Yeah.
a different question. Yes, I think 10% are not participating in, they are not paying their contribution. 90% are paying their contribution. But everybody is a member of our society, 100%. We have 172 farms, all are 2.5 acres, and everybody is a member of our farm, our
Amit,
society.
what about yours?
No, not everybody. I don't. We don't have everybody yet a member, and we are working on getting that sorted. But I just wanted to make one quick intervention,
Yeah.
which is about the policy as it stands. I don't see this policy talking about providing sewage. I don't see any mention of the word there anywhere, or drinking water, or when is that going to come about? I appreciate that there's a lot that's been put onto the farm owners, and they have to do this, and they have to have solar, which is a great idea, and rainwater harvesting, which we all have. Hopefully we all have it, but most of us at least have it. We have these rainwater pits. That's also compulsory now. Excellent ideas. But what is the government and the property tax that we're paying going to do for us?
Yeah.
We must have some commitment somewhere where the policy says we'll give you this in return.
Yeah.
And I don't see any of that coming about yet. That's fine.
Okay.
Sure. There's one more coming, which I'll give you.
Sure. I would actually urge that in the later sessions, when there are planners, when there are officials here, do pick this point up. If they pay for the convergence and they give up their land and so on, what happens? What is the promise of services? Water, sanitation, sewage, drainage. Clearly, these are areas that are very, very important in urban planning. Can we get those addressed? Right? Yeah. So,
Can I add one thing here?
I'm sorry?
Jayashree, can I add one thing here?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So my only thing is, this is regarding when we talk about the external development charges, which they have proposed, they are going to charge that.
Right.
I will propose they should make a escrow mechanism where whatever societies are contributing the amount, that should be kept in the escrow account, and that money should be utilized for the development of that area. Maybe at least 80% of that amount should be utilized for the development of that area. Rest they can utilize anywhere. I understand that. Not 100%. At least 80% should be utilized to development that area. That
Yes,
if they do that, all the services and everything will be there, and it will be done immediately. And that's very important. Single agency, whether it is DDA, NCD, naturally we will also prefer DDA only. DDA should do that, and that is only up to the sanctioning of the layout, because they have a very good thing in section 7.1 where they are saying yes, we should give an integrated development plan, green development plan. So we will propose that integrated development plan. So DDA or any authority should only approve that plan. After that, all this sanctioning of the farmhouse and completion of the farmhouse should be done by the authorized architect, the way all rest of the Delhi is doing, and everywhere doing is. Very well, they have said in initial inaugural session, now they're going faceless, everything. So here also it should be faceless. Architect should be authorized to approve it. This is my suggestion.
Right. Get it. We'll put that in. There is one more point that I wanted to pick up. These are the last 10 minutes of this session. So let's quickly pick up two points. One is that the grade 2 and grade 3, can they coexist? This is a point I raised earlier too. And I would like each of the panelists to quickly tell me what are your views for and against that. Kuldeep?
Yes. I don't see any reason why, both of them cannot exist.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Grade 3 has got, wider ROW.
Yeah.
And grade 2, not as wide. So that's fine. They can coexist.
Yeah.
But the point is, in grade 2, there are many sort of activities which are allowed.
Yeah.
One of them is farmhouses. So for farmhouses, the ROW can be, if somebody wants to just have farmhouses, not any of the other options available there, then the ROW issue is not so much because the density of population is small.
Yeah.
So there should be separated, meaning you have to have very different rules for the existing farmhouses. And number one, and number two, for farmhouses in grade 2, then you need a different set of rules. And for the other activities, a different set of rules. And ROW, by all means, is a subject authorities must come and implement. And therefore, and don't, nobody should be harassed because that is the responsibility of the authorities. So come and implement that, whatever minimum is required. But don't hold up any plans or anything, because that is the job authorities have to do. The owners of the land can only control inside their land. Outside their land, they have no authority. So therefore, the authorities must take responsibility. And earlier, there was a lot of stress on implementation. Please come and implement this. A big problem will be solved.
Okay, Amir, can grade 2 and grade 3 coexist?
I mean, as he said, they have to coexist because of the mess that's been created. We've got only hindsight now. We don't have any foresight. So if we're going to move forward with foresight, something of the nature of a serious plan on the ground, very detailed at each stage, has to be done. If the DDA gives us a macro plan and plans on it for the next 20 to 30 years, which doesn't get implemented at the pocket stage, pocket means little phases, then you can't have grade 2 and grade 3 coexisting. You have to go into the detail. And as somebody said before, the implementation and the ground level is the key. So, I mean, not only Mr. Dhingra, but also somebody had said it on the previous panel, how important it is how you implement. And one more thing, just before, because this is a very important point. This 25% perimeter, I can't understand the sense of this. It's absurd was the word I struck off the word and wrote unworkable, but I can't be charitable. It is an absurd provision, this 25% perimeter. It has no brains behind it. I agree with you if you're going to subdivide plots. And if you're worried about that, then you're looking at a rectangular or a square plot. But the concept of a 25% perimeter has no, operation. It doesn't help, doesn't change anything. You must have access. You must have a wide road to lead up to the plot. But there are plots that are hidden behind, look at Scenic Farms, for God's sake. And I don't have a plot in Scenic Farms, so I'm saying you cannot reach those plots with this concept of 25% perimeter. Some of them are like this, bottle shaped. So how are you going to implement that? Somebody has to be a little sensible about how to deal with that. Just one last thing on existing farmhouses. The grade 1, grade 2, there's if you just look at these 3 categories, you will find that some plots will not qualify for grade 2, even though they are well over 2.5 acres. That's the problem because of the categorization, the minimum access and this criteria. If that happens, what happens to the plots in, say, Scenic Farms, etc., which don't qualify for grade 2 and fall into grade 1? That's actually a contradiction. Yeah. And there are 2 contradictions between 4.1, this minimum area, and 5 point something, which talks about the existing farmhouses. One of them is the existence of a basement. Everybody's got basements. Now you're going to say no existence of basements in the grade 1 because of a 600 square yard plot. But what about the existing basements? And what's wrong with the basement? How does it matter? So I don't know why they've said no basement.
Clearly, we need NIUA to step in here, right?
A little bit more clarity has to come in. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Bhupinder, if there are, let's assume a row of farmhouses and one person decides to sell out and sells out to another grade. It is all residential and suddenly one sells out to another grade. Will that create a disruption?
Certainly. What I would like to say, like especially the primary, secondary education facilities, that means schools can come up. Supposing there are a farm ROW or a farmhouse area and some school comes over. In any school, if it comes over, how much for a neighbor, it's a problem.
Right.
So this facility on a 400 square meter or in grade 2 should not be there. Likewise, some facilities like primary, secondary education, resorts and clubs, storage. Supposing I open a club in my farmhouse, and what about my neighbor? Yeah. If I open a school, there'll be school buses coming and all the time traffic and all, it will become a nuisance for the people. So you can't call it a green area. Green area means it should be green area, low height. We don't mind, let them give even 9 meter. The ground coverage they have given is hardly anything, like they have given 10%. And they say you make 30 FR. That means you will make 3-story houses. Are you going to make a colony like scattered houses in a colony? Wooded area we appreciate. We want wooded area. We shifted there only because of the greenery. I was the one having house in city. I shifted in 85. Why? For a green area. But now all these activities, if they allow showrooms, storage, smoking, I give.
The green principle goes away if you have
Yeah,
so much.
let it be let it be in a facility corridor, let it be in a 30-meter right of way, so that if you have a bigger plot and you want to develop it, or if it doesn't obstruct other. But 1 acre plot, if some neighbor comes and he starts a godown, it's a hassle, or a school. So these kind of activities should not be permitted in grade 2. Let it all be in grade 3. Because it's a 30-meter right of way and it's a bigger plots, minimum size is 10,000 square meter and above. So it's wise and viable within the plot also.
Okay, I'm going to open this up for questions. 5 minutes questions. I think Gaurav wanted to ask some questions. All of you keep your answers brief so that we can handle more questions. Right, Gaurav?
As part of our objection.
We can't hear you, Gaurav.
Manishji, what I'm saying is one suggestion from each of the panelists, which we can record and send it to DDA as part of the objection suggestion. So we have discussed the deliberation. Now, one key point which we can actually write it as you speak and as you say it exactly.
Right.
So it's not a wish list, but what we can implement it. So please help us to 4 of you, 4 suggestions, please.
Yeah. Okay, Kuldeep, please go.
It's about right of way, which is a welcome issue in the policy, but it should be implemented by DDA or whichever authority they nominate. And the owners should not be held up for any sanction or construction if the ROW say is less than 6 meters or less than 9 meters. They should come in. This is their job to come and implement it. Then it's fine.
Amir?
I think the 25% perimeter rule abutting that ROW has to go. If you keep the ROW, which you probably will to some extent, then you have to at least get rid of this, and you can have an access rule, which is important, and we appreciate that. And I think the other thing that we have to also look at is the existing farmhouses. Quick policy for regularization. Look at them, do your drone survey and do it fast rather than keeping it pending and this 2 and 3 years of implementation. Have a very decent policy with a good set of people in a committee that regularizes what's existing and safe, and do it fast, not too expensive, because we had 98% of the farmhouses last time did not even try to be regularized. That 63 or 65 lakhs system didn't work. Okay. So you have to have it cheaper and more and smoother. Thank you.
Bhupinder?
With the permission of chair, I would like to use two points. One is ground coverage. If we really want to give a look of greenhouse, we may restrict the height, but we should give little more ground coverage, maybe equivalent to FAR. And second, I would like to say that these activities, what they have given, like schools and clubs and godowns, it should not be in grade 2.
It should not be grade 2. It should be grade 3.
Grade 3.
Oh, okay. Manish?
Okay. Yeah. So from my side, they had 3 grades: grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. So grade 1 should not be there because we are discussing about green development policy. Basically, we are creating a green lung for Delhi. And if we create grade 1, where they are allowing 600 square yard plots and giving just 5 FAR, means 300 square feet, then again it will create a slum. Everybody will do illegal constructions and everything. So in this area, it should not be less than 1 acre, 4,000 square meter, which is grade 2. And I agree with Mr. Sikri, they should not allow any other activity except residential farmhouses. That's all. Other things can be permitted in grade 3, which has 30-meter ROW. If it's possible and how much time they will take to implement it. And they should be answerable if there's any delay on that.
Sure. With your permission, Gaurav, I'll ask that gentleman. He represents Vasant Kunj. Would you like to give your
I
suggestions?
think all three suggestions have been there. The perimeter is very important.
important.
Only 3 to 4% farmhouses will be sanctioned with 25% perimeter. Otherwise, none will be sanctioned. That's very sure about that. Yes, ma'am.
So you wanted to make. Yeah. Could we have the mic with him, please?
My name is Prith Paul.
Yeah.
I represent Pushpanjali RWA. Another reference I think is important are the services.
Yeah.
As we discussed earlier, I think it's quite mandatory and relevant aspect, especially when you're looking at green area policy.
That's right.
Because we need greenery. For greenery, we have to have water.
Yeah.
And right now there are a lot of restrictions on bore wells and all the related areas, services, drainage. I think all those aspects have to be looked after very carefully because they are apparent for the survival of green development area.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm surprised nobody picked up escrow accounting. I thought that was a very important point that you picked up in the final round of recommendations. I think that is important. If you collect from that area, you have to plow it back into that area so that the upgrade can happen. It doesn't go into the city coffers. I thought that was an important point that was made.
Sorry, Jayashriji, I would like to say that we will not be selfish for that also. Let them create escrow account, that's good. But if I say that you only develop my area like Ansal Villas and forget about the road, how do the other infrastructure will be developed?
The broad planning area.
The broad planning area, if it is spent, but it is with the only my request is there should be one implementing agency.
Absolutely.
And I still say if it is DDA, area is declared as a development area, that is a much more faster and will be done in a better way. Because right now, as I told you, there are corporation involved, PWD involved, DDA involved, and so many NHAs involved, and nobody knows what all it is.
Yeah. And at this point, because you are actually recommending DD, I'm going to ask Ms. Manju. She's the additional commissioner planning DDA, and ma'am, if you could speak.
I have some random thoughts on whatever has been discussed and what I have been noting. I want to clarify a few facts. We started with MPD 2041, and while the text which has been circulated to everybody talks about this policy having been put in the public domain as MPD 2021, there was a rationale behind putting this policy as a part of MPD 2021 because while MPD 2041 will be looking at the holistic view, the vice chairman was keen that these particular policies which are impacting development and people have been waiting for very long, we should not delay these policies, and these policies should be made implementable as soon as possible, and they can be suitably integrated in MPD 2041. So having said that, I want to assure the House that we will be very soon coming up with this policy, and the regulations are already in the process, which will dovetail the process of as to how to go about it. So the 8th is the last date, which has been mentioned time and again. So we will request, and I have already been told that within a period of 2 days, the NAREDCO suggestions will also come. We are also going to have a board of inquiry and hearing because we have already been getting many suggestions. And while sitting here and hearing those suggestions, they are not very different from what we have got from other people. So more or less these suggestions are there, but once they come in writing, it becomes easier for us to consider. And we may invite somebody from NAREDCO who can represent all those concerns in the board of inquiry and hearing, which will facilitate in making suitable decisions. Because there are a couple of suggestions which are coming up, will need us to digress from the original document. So that is one. Secondly, governance issues are being talked about. When we are talking about governance issue, I assure you that right now in DDA, we are actually aiming for transparency. So we are thinking about nameless people and faceless clients. We do not intend that we actually interact with the people per se. And because of the digitization, we would have everything online. And if all of you are aware that already for our building plan sanctions, we have gone for the online building sanction plans. something similar of that nature would be done. But having said that, sir mentioned that it has to be DDA. But no, in this organization, we cannot just move along with DDA. But whatever we do, whatever structure we develop, we will have local bodies on board who will be there and who will be hand-holding us. And a single windows clearance system will take care of whatever approvals are required from whichever body, they come there. I just hope everybody is aware about the online building system. Similarly, we will have the system. So the all local bodies will be at one place and we will be granting approval. So it should not be a problem once the policy is in domain. Then secondly, we were talking about issues like the sustainability, which has to be locally. Yes, one policy or one solution doesn't fit all. This green policy, this green area policy, to me, it's more like a green oriented development. So green has to be taken in that way that I'm orienting towards having a sustainable development. And that is the reason why today my policy, which we have tabled in front of everybody in the domain of public, not only just envisages the 23 villages which were earlier licensed as the LDRA villages, and they were seen in isolation. And what was happening to the peripheral revenue villages, very few opportunities are being granted to those villages. And that is why we were seeing a splurge of unauthorized construction. Why the green belt? We have been criticized a lot. It was the mandate of the NCR plan, and we could not have done away with it. But having said that, in consultation with NCR and keeping that in mind that NCR does mandate a green belt, right now this green area development policy is taking into cognizance both the green belt area and the LDRA area. And what will happen is what was happening if you see our zonal plans were standalone plans where the road connectivity from one zonal plan would not talk to another, or even if they would talk to another, somehow they would stop at the green belt. My particular policy is going to see that there is a seamless connectivity between the LDRA area and the green belt, and we have a consolidated development. So again, I said that one policy does not fit all. So when Sir was talking about development, taking care of the poor, so we do have other policies coming in the city. This is kind of a mix of a green brownfield and a greenfield development. Land pooling is totally a greenfield development, and the other city areas, they will have a brownfield development, which will take care of these aspects. And if you see all the policies individually, as well as if you see them together, in every policy, we have ensured now that the proper representation of every sector is there. We have also in the new master plan, though it's not the mandate right here, that we have talked about even housing for the urban poor, affordable housing for the urban poor, but not in any other way, but in consonance with the Government of India policy as a rental housing. So the rental housing, be it for the urban poor or be it for various strata, as we were saying, that now we need to, it's high time we need to digress from that economic divisions of LIG, EWS, which sounds very bad, from that to cater to all the groups, be it the student groups or be it the people who need studio apartments. And this is being mandated by the Government of India. So we are totally with the Government of India and we are adhering to those policies. And well, these are a couple of my thoughts. So I just thought I would like to share it with you.
Okay.
And then we will need the full coordination of the local bodies. So after this meeting, I intend to shoot a letter to the local bodies and do need their views, so that at a later stage, once it comes to an implementation stage, we should not be facing hurdles like as if they were not consulted or their views have not been taken into consideration. Not only that, we are going to specially invite them for the public hearing. They will be there. Their views also will be taken, and your views certainly are going to come, and the views of the public. Everything will be taken into consideration, and then only we'll work forward. And in fact, I thank NAREDCO for taking this opportunity, because with the wide varied people from various spectrums, we will have a contribution which will really, really help us in enhancing the policy. You know, no policy is without flaws. But when we get the input from the right people, probably we'll be able to improve it. And thank you for that, for helping us to improve the policy. And the last point, ma'am, talking about the escrow, we are very, very serious, because we have seen in the past that wherever the funds are collected, they generally end up in the salaries of the organizations, not for DDI, I assure you, but mostly for the local bodies which are money parched and so on and so forth. So we do ensure that in every policy of ours, we are building this mandatory criteria of escrow, so that the funds go right there in that particular thing. No, that is a thought there. So with this, I just
Thank you,
Thank you
Manjuji.
so much.
my pleasure.
We always knew that we had a patient person to hear us, but we didn't know that you were already implementing most of the suggestions which they are giving.
Sir, I also have to be the convener of the board of the inquiry.
Thank you
and
so
hearing,
much.
So I really need to have my ears and eyes open,
Yes.
or else I am the one who's going to be criticized the most.
No way. From past experience, we know that you are excellent. And I think whether it's the escrow account, whether it's rental housing, whether it's the
There are
local
issues.
people and the kind of stakeholders, I think it is really marvelous. I mean, one is staying back during the day here because I think this one is so well planned. Thanks to Gaurav and all of you, that we have the right people here to sound and to give actual living examples. They've actually lived it. They're walking the talk right now. Because they're
And-
actually,
And last but not the least, I am sorry, I forgot to thank NIUA, because NIUA has been hand-holding us, and they have really done a fantastic work, and it would not have been possible if they were not with us. So it is not my work or DDA's work. In fact, when I look at DDA Green Development Area Policy, I would have loved to have this board as Green Development Area Policy for Delhi, and where NIUA should also have got its due credit. So thank you very much.
thank you.
So let me thank my panelists. Thank you so much for joining us and having such a delightful conversation where you brought all your problems forward. Thank you.
I'll request for a photo opportunities of all the panelists. A photo of all the panelists. Manish sir, if they're online, so Manish sir will not be able to add you here. Manish,
Yeah, yeah.
Manish,
Okay, thank you.
Manish sir is also there on the panel, so please see how you can add him there in the photograph. He's there in the panel. So हल्का सा right, हल्का सा right. बस. Great. So after this, we will go for a tea break and for 5 minutes. So I'll request all the panelists and to please be right back after 5-10 minutes for the next session. All the panelists are there in the hall right now. So we'll request everyone to please join us back in 5 to 10 minutes for the next session. Thank you so much. Thank you.